here I've got 4 different situations. You could have an angry patient A&E who's been waiting for hours and hours, seeing everybody go ahead of them. You've got another patient who's actually nearing the end of their life. You've got another patient, let's say, comes into a GP practice and you've got to discuss with them about, their bowel habits or something that's embarrassing for them. And then let's say you have another patient who comes in and you've just found out that they have got a chronic disease such as rheumatoid arthritis, yeah, or something like diabetes, something that's going to impact their life. Of the 4 of them, and you can either unmute or you can use the chat, where do you think communication is going to be most important? And why?
I think maybe communication is important in all of them, especially in the medical field, because you need to make sure that the patient understands what's happening. And you need to try and, if it's like an angry patient, you need to try and calm them down and make sure they know what's going on. But it doesn't mean that like a patient nearing their end of their life, doesn't mean that like communication towards them is less important. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, it does. Very good point. Anybody else? Or anybody disagree with Luke maybe? Or agree?
I think it's I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I think it's the kind of communication that you have with each patient that's more important than having communication at all. In the case of number 2, you have to be super empathetic or sympathetic, I guess, and understand that there's really not much you can do for them. Whereas 3 and 4, you have to be very careful with your words because it's either embarrassing or it's a lot of medical jargon that they won't understand. So it depends on it's more the type of communication you have and how you present your words.
Okay, thank you, Funkemi. Somebody else was going to say something.
Yeah, so I would have said maybe like with the patient nearing the end of their life, you'd have to be like really sensitive and careful about how you give them the information, because around that, like, I guess when you come to the end of your life, you can be like quite panicked, or you might be, really calm. It depends on the person and how they're feeling in the moment. But I also think when it comes to discussing potentially embarrassing subjects, maybe like being discreet with how you tell them, like maybe taking the patient to the side away from maybe other people that they're around, that could be quite helpful in helping them not be embarrassed, but also communicating effectively.
Amazing, great. Anybody else? Somebody said number 4 as well. Okay, those are really great answers. And I think it's a combination of all those things. I like what you guys said about the type of communication. And I think the essence of it is that the element of communication within medicine is not necessarily, you're not going to get a textbook that says this is how you communicate. It's almost like an art that's going to have to come through. Like as you do medicine, as you meet different patients, you learn and you pick up things, even how you ask questions. You don't always ask questions in the same way to a child. If you were going to ask, an adult, you would change how you ask the question. So in different settings, you're going to have to apply different things. And as much as medicine can be knowledge-based, which it is, there's a lot of application of what you've learned and being able to adapt. So it gives you that element of variety in the people that you see, the type of way you're going to communicate, the situations you're going to have to communicate, but being able to actually, like you guys identified, know the when and the how and how to apply it to different groups of people. So that was really great, guys. The last